ahead and lie down on your back. You need to support your knees. You can place something underneath them, especially if you're having any low back discomfort. Creating that little bend in the knees helps to elongate the spine, the lumbar spine. You let your arms rest by your sides, the palms facing up. And we'll begin with those 3 sighs. So 3 times, breathing in through your nose, and then just allow the mouth to open and sigh out. After completing those 3 sighs, of course, you will let the breath just come in and out through the nose, unless your body at any point in time says, I'd like to take a couple more sighs. Always welcome to do that. And we're going to work a little bit on that full, complete breath that we also worked on last week. Just tapping into that a little bit each week that we get together. And so you always start it by just noticing where your natural breath is. Okay. One thing that you'll notice is that as soon as you start to pay attention to what the natural breath is, it's going to automatically change. But just kind of observing what parts of the rib cage are expanding with that inhalation. Where does the exhalation start first? Right? What part starts to descend and relax first? The very beginning of the exhalation. And then you'll start to let the breath become more 3-dimensional. So breathe into the back of the body. Breathe into the side of the body. And really just kind of open up the rib cage. And I really like teaching this breath with people lying down as opposed to sitting up, because you have to let your belly totally relax on this inhalation to get this full, deep diaphragmatic breath, right? So you're going to let the belly totally relax. You're going to start to deepen the inhalation, still moving into the side body, still moving into the back body. And you let that diaphragm drop down and let the pelvic floor relax. And just focusing right now on the inhalation. And what you'll start to notice is that if you allow the pelvic floor to get involved in the breath, then you involve the diaphragm more in the breath. They're very, very connected to one another. So now on the exhalation, you're going to start by engaging the pelvic floor, drawing it in and up, and then actively squeezing, right? The core, side ribs, side chest, just squeezing all that breath out. And then, of course, following with the inhalation in the same way that you have been, breathing three-dimensionally, letting the belly relax, opening the pelvic floor at the end. But adding on that exhalation. So the exhalation, pelvic floor squeezes, the diaphragm moves back up, right, to the bottom of the rib cage. And then all those muscles in between the ribs, those intercostal muscles, there's many of them. Use those muscles to squeeze the rib cage back in. And then when you're ready to inhale again, you relax everything. Relax. And you can feel it almost like a wave, just opening and expanding. Pelvic floor relaxes. And then when you exhale, you squeeze it all in again. Squeeze it from the bottom all the way back up. I'll give you a few moments here just to kind of repeat that cycle. And so now after the next exhalation that you take, just let the breath go back to its natural rhythm. And of course, pay attention again to what that rhythm is, how it feels, but without the intentional manipulation of the breath. And you might notice that it's a little bit different than it was in the very beginning before we did our complete full breath. Perhaps the inhalations just naturally moving into different areas, filling up more space. And if you want to set an intention, of course, for the practice or for the day, please set that at this time before we start moving. All right, so you can do the beginning portion of this with your eyes closed. If you would like to open them at this time, of course you can. And we're going to start. Your left leg is going to go long onto your mat, and we'll work a little bit on some hip openers. So the right knee is going to come in, and I just want you to start to make some circles with the right leg. So working on some range of motion in this hip socket on the right side. course, you can give yourself support with your right hand if you like. You can place your right hand on the floor if you like. But make it slow. Really notice where you feel stuck. And then you're going to reverse it. You just go the other direction here. Very nice. Let that right leg come long onto your mat and bring the left knee in. And starting with those knee circles, you know we're going to go both directions. So whichever way you start is fine. Nice and slow. And then reverse it. Move it around the other direction. Awesome. All right. Bend both knees. Place both feet on the floor about mat width. Sorry, I got those words jumbled up for a moment. About mat width distance from each other. And arms are by your side. Flex your feet so the toes lift up. And you're just going to do that windshield wiper of the knees side to side. So this is another hip opener. I don't know if I'd call it a hip opener, but it increases the range of motion in the hip and also helps to stretch the hip flexors, which is pretty much the top of the thigh area. And again, you can do this slow. If you know you're tight in the front of your hip, do focus on stretching that top leg by pushing the top knee away from the body. Good. And let's have you go one more side. And then meeting back in center. So your feet about hip distance apart now. I do want to work on those pelvic clocks. A lot of times I have tight hips as well when it comes to like the bone structure part of it. And I find that the pelvic clocks, they do help to kind of loosen up, not the hip sockets necessarily, but that space of the pelvis and the sacrum. So let's work on that a little bit and see if that can free up some of those areas that feel kind of stuck. So knees are bent, feet hip distance apart, arms still down by your side, and your belly button is going to be 12 o'clock on the clock. Your pubic bone is going to be 6 o'clock on the clock. If it's easier for you to think about your tailbone instead of the pubic bone, that's fine. Okay, and you're just going to rock between 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So it's a small motion, okay? Not a big motion at all. So you can also involve your breath as you exhale and you squeeze the abdominals and you press the low back down, moving to 12 o'clock. And then as you inhale, you arch the back, moving towards 6 o'clock, pressing the tailbone down. So just always think anytime you're kind of compressing the torso, right, that's going to be on an exhalation for most of yoga poses. And then you're just going to bring it to neutral. Now I want you to find 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. For me, this is the one that really um, is very helpful for stiff hips. So think of one of those bony points in the front of your pelvis being 3 o'clock, the other bony point being 9 o'clock. Okay. Again, very small motion, smaller than 12 to 6. And you're just rocking it side to side between 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, right? You might feel your buttock on one side lift up, your knees might sway slightly. All of that is okay because you're trying to find a little bit of that freedom in the sacrum, in the pelvis, called the sacroiliac joint. A lot of times when this space is crunched, inflamed, etc., certainly it translates to the hips. It also can translate into the low back, right? So this is super gentle. And then we're going to go into full clocks. So I find this to be very challenging, even though you're really just trying to move your pelvis around in a clock. But you want to hit all the points, right? So go slow. So you're going to exhale and you're going to draw it to 12 o'clock. Then you're going to round over to 3 o'clock, round down to 6 o'clock, round over to 9 o'clock, round back to 12. Okay, so when you're going from 12 to 3 to 6, you can inhale. And when you're going from 6 to 9 to 12, you can exhale. And the reason I say do this pretty slow is because you want to feel the places where your body is trying to skip over, right? Where is it hard to do that rounding part of the clock? Where is it easy? We'll do one more time going this direction. And I find when I really slow it down, like for me, example, the right side is pretty free and open. The left side, it does not want to go from 6 to 9 o'clock. Like I can't round that out. So I just slow it down more there. After you do that one more, you're going to go counterclockwise. So 12 o'clock, and you're going to inhale to 9 o'clock, inhale to 6 o'clock, exhale to 3 o'clock, exhale to 12 o'clock. Let's do one more this direction. And after you do that, just find neutral. We'll take a pigeon pose on our back here. So crossing right ankle over the left knee. You can stay here. So again, if you find that the front of your hips is typically a little tighter and like that inner groin area, I would stay here with my left foot down and take my right hand and just push my right knee away, right? So you're working on opening through that hip flexor, through that inner groin, and just push that right knee away. If you find that the tightness is more in the glutes and the back of the hips, that's when you want to draw the knees in and get that stretch, okay, in the back. So your pigeon might be very different this day than it has been in the past, and that's okay. And you can rock a little side to side if that feels nice to you, if the knees are drawn in towards the chest. And then release that. And of course, we'll go to the other side. So left ankle coming across that right knee, flex the foot. And again, if the tightness is the front of the hip or the groin, you're taking your left hand and you're pushing that left knee away from your body. So you're finding space in the front of the hip. And then alternatively, of course, if it's the back of the hip, the glutes, that you have that tightness, then you're drawing the knees in. And again, maybe rocking a little side to side. Okay. And if you are bringing the knees in, one thing I would invite you to kind of pay attention to here is when you were doing your clocks, like I gave myself as an example, and the left side of the clock was a lot harder for me to circle through. Notice if that same side for you feels a little tighter when we're doing your pigeon. So a lot of yoga is about awareness of yourself, your body, your thoughts. Very good. And release out of that. And you're going to come all the way up to sit. And we are going to come into butterfly pose. Bound angle pose is what I always learned it as. Um, I will definitely recommend that if you find yourself in this pose and your knees are way up here, sit up on a pillow or sit up on a bolster or a low stool or whatever you might have around you. Because if you can lift your buttocks, your hips, and your pelvis up so that it's more the height of your knees, the top of the crest, more to the height of the knees, it'll put a lot less strain. You'll be able to open up a little bit more. Good. So I'll give you time to get there if you need to. Awesome. You can grab your knees, you can grab your shins, you can grab your ankles or your toes. Right? But roll the shoulders back, lift the chest nice and high. And if you can, start to lean forward a little bit, right? So you guys have been taking my classes for a long time, so this is not a rounded back. This is where you're trying to bring your chest almost as if it were going to go in front of your feet. So you're trying to keep your chest nice and lifted, your spine relatively neutral. And we're going to stay here and take some of those really deep, full breaths. Good. Now, staying leaned over, if you are, you're going to start to walk your hands over to the right side. We're just getting that stretch on the left side of the body here, the left back. And just keep your head neutral, looking down towards the mat. If you want more, you reach more with your left hand. But again, take those really slow, deep breaths. And then bring it to center and then walk it over, of course, to the left side. Reaching with the right hand, getting a big stretch in the right side body. Very good. Bring yourself all the way back to center and then bring yourself up. Awesome. So we will come into cat-cow. So moving into your hands and knees here. And cat-cow, you can think about those pelvic clocks that we were talking about when we did earlier, and just moving from that 12 o'clock to that 6 o'clock. As you exhale, the back rounds, you drop that tailbone, you drop the head, round the back. And of course, as you inhale, you lift the tailbone, arch the back, head lifts. And just moving with your breath at your pace, but focusing a lot on the pelvis, right? Think of that 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, just moving that pelvis. Good. And then bring yourself back into child's pose. Give your wrists a little break. In your child's pose, your head is down, the back of your neck is relaxed. Okay. And a common adjustment if you're taking a class in person in child's pose would be for the teacher to come up and just grab kind of the side of your hips and draw your tailbone down towards your heels and put a little bit of pressure on the pelvis to draw back and down. So a way that you can do a self adjustment is to take your hands and push them down and forward into the mat and get that same sensation of someone coming behind you and just pressing down on your hips to bring them closer to your heels. Very good. Go ahead and come back up onto your hands and knees, but keep your feet how they were. So big toes are touching, knees wide here. And then we're just taking those hip circles. And think about now the whole pelvis just going around in a clock. The clock is on your mat, right? So 12 o'clock, 3 and 6 and 9. And of course, you reverse it, go the other way. Very good. From here, you're going to make your way up to stand. And we're actually going to come right into a wide leg forward fold. So we're going to keep our feet pretty wide here for a little bit because we're going to do this into a warrior two on each side. So you kind of know what's coming. So you want your feet wide, like wide, wide, um, as wide as you can comfortably have them. The toes are going to point towards the long edge of your mat. Okay. And I want you just to press your feet down. So press the feet down, engage the legs, let the chest lift up. So think of from the hips down, pressing down. Think of from the hips up, trying to lift and extend up. Stay here, close your eyes. Okay, so even with this wide foundation and both feet down on the floor, just the simple act of closing our eyes can bring us a little off balance. So we pay attention to that, let the breath deepen. You can let the eyes open, reach your arms straight out, shoulder height. This is star pose. Right, so we're just standing here, but I'm going to tell you all these things to do with your body. Press the feet down again, engage the quads. Lift the pelvic floor, pull the belly in, let the chest widen and expand. Draw the shoulder blades in towards the spine, but at the same time, reach through the fingertips. Good, so shoulder blades drawing in, fingertips extending out. Pelvic floor still lifting. Let the shoulders soften. Relax through the neck. Good. Turn your palms up. Turn your palms down. Beautiful. Turn the palms up again. Turn the palms down. Awesome. Take your hands to your hips. You're going to hinge from the hip crease here. So a little bit of core work is going to need to be engaged. As you exhale, start to hinge forward and then place your hands down onto the floor. Beautiful. Bend your right knee. Bring your weight over to the right side a bit. Get a nice stretch in the left inner thigh. And bring it back to center. Bend the left knee. Stretch in the right inner thigh. And start to move back and forth. Bending the right knee. Coming back to center. Bending the left knee. Good. Back to center. A few more. Good. Bring yourself to center. Okay. And then this is where you're really going to activate that core again. So your hands are going to come back to your hips. Press the feet down. Just stay in this position for a moment. So legs are really activated. Press the feet down. Pull the belly in. And then start to lift up, unhinging from that hip crease. Beautiful. Turn your right toes towards the short edge of the mat. And left toes come in just a tiny bit. I just kind of kick my heel out a bit. Lift your arms, bend the right knee, warrior two pose. Good. Make sure you can see that right big toe. Beautiful. Keep drawing the shoulder blades in. Reach through those fingertips. Nice and long. Just like in that star pose, right? The arms translate into warrior two. And you breathe. Feet press down. Awesome. Let the hands come to the hips. Straighten your right leg. Turn the toes to the long edge of the mat. Turn the left toes to the short edge of the mat. Warrior two, other side. Reach the arms. Bend that left knee. Make sure you can see the left big toe. Beautiful. Squeeze the shoulder blades in. Reach the fingertips. Press down through the legs. Okay, so this is a great pose. Strengthens your legs, of course, strengthens the arms and shoulders, but you create length, and it's also a big hip opener, right? So even though it doesn't seem like we're actively working on the hips, we are getting good range of motion, stretching out the front of the hip flexor of the back leg, strengthening the hip and the front leg. Good. Arms come down to the hips, straighten the left leg. We're going to go back to the other side. So right toes to the short edge of the mat, bend that right knee. If you find that your arms are getting tired, you can keep them on your hips, or you can lift up. Breathe. Good. Take your left hand down onto your left thigh. Turn the right palm up. Keep your legs just how they are. Just start to reach your right arm up towards the ceiling as you lean back slightly. All right, there's not a lot of weight here on your left leg with the hand. If you want to, you can even take your left arm around your low back. Do a little bind, called a bind in yoga. Maybe the left fingertips touch the right inner thigh in your bind. Good. Bring it back to center. Release the arms. Go to the other side last time. Okay, so warrior two on the left side. Bend the left knee. Make sure you can see the left big toe. Lift the arms. Unless the arms are tired, keep them on the hips. And breathe. Good. Go ahead and take your right hand and place it on that back thigh. Turn the left palm up. And then just start to lift your left hand up towards the ceiling as much as it wants to go as you gently lean back. Again, not a lot of pressure here with your hand on your leg. It's just gently resting, or you can bring it around the low back. Maybe working on getting that hand around to the left side, or maybe the fingertips go to the inside of the left thigh. Beautiful. Slowly release those arms. Place them down onto the hips. Straighten the left leg. Turn the toes to the long edge of the mat. Good. Come back into your forward fold. So hands on the hips. Just gently fold forward. And then place your hands onto the floor. We're going to do our twist here. So right hand stays on the floor. Left arm lifts up towards the ceiling. If you need to modify, put your hand on your hip. Good. Bring it back to center. Go to the other side. Again, if you need to modify, just place your right hand on your hip instead of lifting it up to the ceiling. And bring it back to center. Very nice. Take your hands to your hips. Bring it all the way up to stand. Good. And draw the feet back to the midline. Back to standing. Ah, good. That should feel good on your ankles. All right. So I want you to stand on your right leg, and we're just going to do some ankle rolls with the left. Okay. So you're going to roll that left ankle out. And then reverse it in the other direction. And switch sides. Standing on the left foot and just rolling out that right ankle. And reverse it, of course. Good. All right. We're going to come into a tree pose, and then we will come down onto our backs. All right. So let's stand on the left foot first. Bring your right foot to kickstand, to the calf, to the inner thigh. Try to find something not moving. Right? Hands at heart. You need to use a wall. If you feel wobbly today, you can do that. You can reach your arms up into the air. Good. And come out of that the way that you came in. And then we'll go to the other side. So standing on the right foot now and come to kickstand, to calf, or to the inner thigh. One side's always more wobbly than the other. So you're looking at something not moving. Use a wall if you need. Maybe the arms lift. I'm super wobbly on my right side today. And every day it's a little different. Every minute it's a little different. I could come back in 10 minutes and have a totally different tree pose. Good. Slowly come out of that the way that you came in and release. Awesome. So let's lie on our backs, do a spinal twist, and then we will come into Shavasana. I want to do a spinal twist and a pigeon for you, actually. So grab some water if you need some water, of course. I'm sorry I didn't. I usually do that when we stand up, and I did not, so I apologize about that. Mm. After you get your water and you lie down on your back, we'll do a spinal twist, and then we'll come into a pigeon on that same side, and then we'll do it on the other side, okay? So left leg is long. Draw the right knee into the chest. Maybe you stay here for a moment. Let the shoulders relax. And then you keep holding the knee with the left hand. Let the right arm come out to the side, about the height of the shoulder, maybe a little bit lower. And remember, as you twist, you want to only twist so much that your right shoulder stays grounded. If it starts to lift up, then don't twist any further. So you bring that knee across the body, let the hip lift, spinal twist. So this is a great, I love bending practice with a nice deep twist. It's great for the spine, but you also, again, notice how it stretches the back of the hip. That kind of that glute area, the outer hip area, it helps to stretch that space. Beautiful. Bring yourself back to center. Bend the left knee, come into pigeon pose with the right ankle across the left thigh. And again, determine what kind of pigeon pose do you want? You want to keep your left foot down, work on opening the front of that right hip, or do you want to bring the left knee in towards the chest and work on stretching the back of the hip? Good. Really straighten that right leg and bring the left knee in. Hug it for a moment. Take some deep breaths. I know I talked a lot about the hips today. I will say that a lot of the poses that we did work other parts in addition to the hips, but I just wanted to talk about that for anybody who might feel that they need to work their hips and get a little more range of motion there. So you knew what was happening in each pose. Good. So come on into that spinal twist here. So right hand grabs the knee, left arm's out to the side. And then as you exhale, just bring that knee across the body to the right. Once that left shoulder starts to lift, you stop. Don't go any further. And breathe. Notice on an exhale if you can relax the back of the right arm. If you can relax the neck. Good. Bring it back to center. Bend that right knee coming into that pigeon pose this side. So again, determining what you want. Maybe you're pushing that left knee away. Maybe you're bringing the right knee in for a stretch in the back of the thigh. And you just start to let yourself rock a little bit if you like, or stay static. Try to relax the neck. Good. Release out of that. And actually, I think I'd like to throw in a happy baby too, just because we focused a lot on opening the hips, not a ton on strength and kind of constricting or anything. So happy baby, it can look a couple different ways. I'll show you the full pose first. So I bring my arms in between my knees and I grab my feet and I bring my feet out. So my knees and my ankles are stacked and the soles of my feet are up towards the ceiling. My feet are flexed, just like a happy baby, right? And they're little infants and they do this and it's so cute. And if this feels like there's no way I am reaching my feet, that is not happening, then you can take your hands and you can kind of grab like behind your knees and draw the knees down while lifting your feet in the air, flexing the feet. So you're still working on having your ankles over the knees. And some people like to rock a little side to side in this happy baby. It's a good sacroiliac release. Kind of like when we were doing those clocks from 3 to 9. This is one of those poses that you do and you're super grateful that you're in the privacy of your own home. Good. Just a few more moments, a few more breaths. And release your happy baby. So that's another, if you're wanting to work on hip openers, that's something that you could definitely do at the end of any stretches that you do at home to help open the hips, something that you can end with. Another modification for that, if that still seems difficult doing both of them, you can also do one leg at a time. right? Work on that. But we'll come into Shavasana now. Legs can be long, traditional Shavasana. Arms by your sides, palms up. And if you like to give yourself a little support under the knees, you can, or you can bend the knees completely. That's fine. We'll be here for a few minutes. And so now if you're ready to come back, you can start to wiggle your fingers and toes, roll your wrists and ankles. Just keeping in mind that if you want to stay where you are and rest in Shavasana a little longer, you're welcome to do that, of course. But I appreciate you coming today and letting me guide you through the practice. There is no class next week. It is my last vacation that I have planned for the rest of the entire year. I know I went last month too, so I apologize. But every year, every July, we go to Canada for a week. But after next week, we'll be back, and I look forward to seeing you then. I hope you have a wonderful July till we meet again. Good, peaceful thoughts, peaceful words, peaceful intentions. Namaste.